Okay, my dear children. So, in the earlier sessions, we discussed about the theoretical parts related to the human organ system lesson. Now, we are going to discuss about the questions related to the human organ system lesson. So, first of all, we'll answer the questions given in your textbook. Right. So, you have to give short answers here in the first question given. So, the first question is given, what do you mean by excretion? So, excretion is the process of removing excretory materials from our body. So, you have to write down simple answers. So, thereby, we'll write down very simple answers. So, the process of removing excretory substances from the body is called excretion. Process of removing excretory substances from the body is called excretion. Right then. So, we'll write down the answer. Process of removing excretory substances from the body is called excretion. So, process of removing excretory substances from the body is called excretion. This is what do you mean by excretion. Right then, so let's see what is the second question given. What are the main excretory organs in the human body? They are asking about the main organs, right? Main organs that produces excretory substances. So, the first and foremost organ which helps to produce nitrogenous excretory materials is the kidney. So, kidney is the first and foremost organ that we studied under the nitrogenous excretion part related to the urinary system, my dear children. So, kidney. After that, we studied about the process of respiration, and for the process of respiration, in order to process the excretory substances, lungs are helpful. So, lungs are going to produce carbon dioxide and water vapor, which are the excretory substances. Then after that, skin, which is going to produce same excretory substances as the kidney. So, these are the three main excretory organs in the human body. Why feces not considered as an excretory product? So, we learned that fecal materials are getting produced, right? Fecal materials are getting produced within the digestive tract, not within the cells of the human body. So, if those things are not getting produced within the cells of the human body, we can't consider those things as excretory substances. So, fecal materials are not getting produced by biochemical reactions that occur within our human body cells, right? So, therefore, these fecal materials are not considered as, right? These fecal materials are not considered as excretory substances. They should happen within our cells. If not, they are not considered as excretory substances. So, excretory substances should create within the cells upon biological reactions. So, we can write the answer like this. Because because feces are not getting because feces are not getting created by biological reactions. By biological reactions within cells. So this is the answer, because feces are not getting created by biological reactions within body cells, right? Feces are not getting created within body cells due to biological reactions. So if not, those substances are not considered as excretory materials. Right then. What is the main component in urine? The main component contained in urine. So you know that the main component contained in urine is water. About 96% we can observe water, right? So there is about 96% water. So the main component contained within urine is water. Next one. Write 3 instances that can damage the kidneys. So we had write down 3 instances. We discussed several instances which we can, which a damage could happen to kidneys. Several instances. So out of that, we need to write down 3 of them. So number 1, consuming high salty foods. Consuming high salty foods. This is the first example, right? This is the first example that can damage the kidneys. So the next one, consuming liquor. Consuming liquor, smoking. So smoking and consuming liquor is a reason for having bad urinary system plus unhealthy kidneys, right? Then not drinking enough water. So water is really important to facilitate the dissolution of different salts which contained in urine. So if there is no water in needful amount, there is a possibility that these salts may get crystallized, right? And kidney stones may get created. So in order to avoid that condition, we have to have enough water. So not drinking enough water is a reason to have bad kidneys. So these are the things that can damage the kidneys, my dear children. Right. Underline the correct answer. So in these questions, you have to underline, right, the correct answer. So let's see. The nerve endings are in epidermis, the dermis. So you know that almost all the components in the human skin is contained within the dermis. So therefore, nerve endings which helps to detect the sensors are also located inside the dermis. So dermis is the answer, right? Dermis is the answer. Interconnection between receptors and effectors is known as homeostasis, coordination. So my dear children, interconnection means they are talking about a connection, right? Coordination, connection, coordination, communication. So connection, coordination, or else the communication between receptors, sensory organs, and effectors, muscles. However, these things are organs. So connection between different types of organs is referred as coordination, right? So the answer is coordination. Coordination. There are meningin layers, pleura layers for the protection of central nervous system. So if you take the central nervous system, meningin layers are the protective layers which are present, right? So meningins is the answer. The cerebrum or the cortex blank controls higher brain functions, regulates and coordinates the body balance. So what is the answer? We know that higher brain activities like thinking and intelligence and logical thinking, all of these stuffs are being stored inside the cortex or the cerebrum of the brain. So my dear children, it controls the higher brain functions, right? It controls the higher brain functions. What? Cerebrum or the cortex. Cerebrum or the cortex is going to control the higher brain functions. So the one which is going to regulate and coordinate of the body balance is the cerebellum, right? Cerebellum is the part which is coordinating the body balance, right? So in the cerebrum, you can observe the controlling of higher brain activities. All nerves in the body that lie outside the brain and spinal cord are called as peripheral nerves. There is no such thing as central nerves, right? We studied about the central nervous system, which includes the spinal cord and the brain. Peripheral nerves are the ones which are located outside the brain and the ones which are located and ones which are coming or arising from the spinal cord. Spinal nerves and the cranial nerves which are arising from the brain, right? So these are the answers for the second question, my dear children, right? So let's move on with the other ones. Match the correct answers. Now there are two columns given here and you need to match these things, right? So we'll use a line here in order to match. Okay. Cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla, cerebrospinal fluid, spinal cord. Those are the things given under the column A. Let's see column B. Controlling the heartbeat. So heartbeat means it's an involuntary action. We can't control the heartbeat by thinking. Just by thinking we can't stop it. Just by thinking we can't control it. So therefore, right, this rate of heartbeat is an involuntary action. All involuntary actions are controlled by medulla. So medulla controlling the heartbeat rate. Second one, controlling the movements of muscles with the intent to perform a specific action. Controlling the movements of muscles with the intent to perform a specific action. So means that if we have the intent, we can move those muscles. Means voluntary muscle actions. So voluntary muscle actions are being controlled by cerebrum, my dear children. Cerebrum. It helps to move the, right? It helps to move the muscles and the organs like our arms, which are voluntary controlled, means that we can think and we can move it. So the answer would be cerebrum, controlling the movements of muscles with the intent to perform a specific action, is the cerebrum. Cerebrum. Then the next one, transmitting messages between the body and the brain. So between body and brain, transmitting messages, body and the brain. So in order to carry messages from body to brain, this part should, one part of this one should be connected with the brain and the other part with the body. It's obvious to us that this is talking about the spinal cord. Spinal cord is the one which has one end connected with the brain and others running around the body through the nerves, right? Actually, spinal cord is located within our vertebral column, but there are several nerves arising from the spinal cord that helps to transport or transmit impulses away and towards the body, right? So here our answer would be spinal cord. See, it's been given here. So transmitting messages between the body and brain, that is carried out by spinal cord. So absorbing shocks, it's really easy. Shocks are getting absorbed by the cerebrospinal fluid. That's a function of the cerebrospinal fluid contained within the brain, inside the meningeal tissues, and also within the spinal cord, right? Once again inside with the meningeal tissues, right? Finally, the leftover one, you know that body balance is maintained by the cerebellum. In the earlier case also, I wrote that thing, right? So these are the answers for the third question, my dear children, right? So let's move on with the next one. So here, fill in the blanks using the suitable words, right? You have to use the suitable words and you need to fill the blanks. So first question is given, skin is the blank organ in the human body. Skin is the blank organ in the human body. So you know that skin is the largest organ in the human body. If you take the human body, skin is the largest organ. So largest. So skin is the largest organ in the human body. It consists of two layers called, so there are two layers within the skin, dermis and the epidermis. Dermis and epidermis. Dermis and epidermis. Right, so let's see the next one. There are blank cells in the epidermis. So there are special type of cells contained in the epidermis. So when we are discussing about the epidermis, we discussed that there are several dead cells in the epidermis. So those things are getting healed once again and replenishing in order to produce new cells. So there are dead cells contained within the epidermis. So there are dead cells in the epidermis. In some epidermic cells, there is a special pigment called, now there is a special pigment in epidermic cells, there are special pigments, there is a special pigment which is referred as the, right, melanin pigments. Melanin. So melanin is the pigment which is contained in the epidermis. It helps to protect our body from harmful ultraviolet rays. So melanin, right? Melanin that determines the skin color. It protects the skin from sun's blank rays. So ultraviolet rays. There are sebaceous, right? So there are two types of glands, sebaceous glands and sweat glands, right? So here, my dear children, there are two types of sebaceous glands and sweat glands. So there are two types of glands that can be observed. Those two glands are sebaceous glands and sweat glands. Sebaceous glands are going to produce sebum, which keeps the skin moisturized. When there is sunlight, skin synthesize vitamin D. Skin is going to produce, or it's going to synthesize vitamin D. In the skin, there are nerve endings. So there are nerve endings in our skin that can detect pressure, touch and the temperature. Okay. So these are the answers for the question, right? The fourth question in your textbook, my dear children. Okay, then let's move on with the next one. So it is given question number 5, write a list of protective measures that can be taken to maintain a healthy skin. So to maintain a healthy skin, what are the protective measures that we can take? Right, so we'll write down like 3 or 4. Okay, so protective measures that can be taken to maintain a healthy skin. First and foremost thing, having a clean body, right? Having cleanliness in the body, right? Having a good hygiene. So having a clean body is the most important thing in having a good and having a healthy and a protective skin, right? Next one, not sharing clothes with others. Not sharing clothes with others. Right? So we should inhibit the sharing process of clothes with others. I told you what's the reason for it, because if you share the clothes, then there is a possibility of getting a microorganism, right? And you may get infected and there can be skin diseases, right? Avoid smokers, comma, quit from smoking. Avoid smokers, comma, quit from smoking. Then having a balanced diet. Having a balanced diet. A good nutritional balanced diet, right, is also helpful to maintain a good and a protective and a healthy skin. So my dear children, these are the protective measures that can be taken to maintain a healthy skin. Right then. Name the parts 1 to 4 in the cross section of the skin. Right. So here at the 4 you can observe the sebaceous gland, right? This is the sebaceous gland. So we can write sebaceous gland. Number 4. Number 4. So this is the sweat gland, my dear children, right? Sweat gland, which is going to emit sweat. Sweat gland. So the thickest level of the skin is called as the dermis, and the thinnest level of the skin that has several cell layers is called the epidermis. So dermis, epidermis, sweat gland and sebaceous glands. So these are the main parts named by these 1, 2, 3 and 4 parts in the figure. Right then, so my dear children, we discussed, right, several questions related to the textbook. We discussed all the questions given in the textbook. Now it's time to do some extra activities, some extra questions related to our lesson. So first of all, we'll start from MCQ questions, right? So let's see what are the extra questions which is given in here. So you have to choose the most accurate answer in each of these instances. Let's see. The process that creates energy in our body. The process which creates energy in our body. So at the beginning of the lesson, I think you could remember, we discussed about the process that creates energy within our body. So this process is the respiration. So my dear children, respiration is the process which creates energy within our body. So growth, if you take growth means the growing process, right? If you take the third one, nutrition means having food, right? And satisfying the requirement of food. Then the next one, excretion also, right? It's not the process that creates the energy. Excretion is the process that eliminates the excretory substances created by the biological reactions within the cells. So the correct answer for the production of energy within the body, correct answer is respiration. Right, the next one. Next one is given, my children, the second question. Second question you are given with not an excretory product. Not an excretory product. So you know that if you take carbon dioxide gas, definitely an excretory product because it's getting created upon respiration, right? During the process of respiration, lungs are going to produce carbon dioxide gas as a byproduct. So it's absolutely correct. It's an excretory product. Second one, feces. This is our answer, my dear children. So when we are discussing the questions under the textbook, we wrote why fecal materials are not considered as excretory materials. Because fecal materials are not getting produced within the cells upon biological reactions. So therefore, these fecal materials are not considered as excretory substances, right? So fecal materials are the answers. Water vapor, once again, also getting produced by the production, during the production of energy or during the production, during the respiration process. Sweat, we know that sweat is also a excretory product, right? It contains several excretory products. So the most accurate answer for this one is fecal materials. Right then, the main excretory organ of nitrogenous waste. So main excretory organ that produce nitrogenous waste is the kidney, right? Kidney is the main organ that can produce or that can excrete or that can eliminate nitrogenous waste from the body. So kidney is our answer. Let's see whether the kidney is given here or not. Yes, in the third response you can observe kidney. Liver is incorrect. Lungs, it's going to expel carbon dioxide and water vapor. Stomach, that is also incorrect. So our correct answer would be kidneys. So kidneys are the main organ that is going to excrete or that is going to produce excretory products related to nitrogen waste. Blood is supplied to the kidney by, blood is supplied, see, blood is supplied. So blood is supplied to the kidney by that red color, right, by that red color valve. That valve was named as, right, renal artery. So yes, at the first answer you can see the renal artery. So hepatic artery, incorrect. Renal vein, right, renal vein, if you take renal vein, that's the vein or that's the part or that's the valve that is going to absorb blood which is getting filtered within the kidney, right? So it is incorrect. Then aorta. Aorta is the one which is the main artery in our body. It's going to distribute all the blood to our all organs all around the body. However, aorta is getting divided into several segments and several subvalves, several subtubes in order to provide blood to each and every organ, right? So one valve is renal artery. So renal artery is the one which is going to provide blood into the kidneys, right? Not a main excretory material contained in urine. Not a main excretory material, right? It should be not. So what are the main substances contained in urine? Urea, uric acid, water and salts. So let's see any other deviation is there. So salts correct, urea correct, water correct. Glucose is the one which is not a main excretory material. Actually, it is not an excretory material at all, right? All the glucose is getting reabsorbed to the blood during the process of excretion, during the process of filtration inside the kidney. If not, that person is filling with diabetes. Right then. Function of medulla. Function of medulla. So, if you take the medulla, medulla is the organ or the part of the brain that is going to help in controlling involuntary actions such as vomiting, the rate of aeration of lungs, then rate of respiration, then rate of heartbeat, and like that way there are so many involuntary actions which are going to occur within our body. All of these involuntary actions are getting controlled by the medulla. So let's see whether there is any involuntary action or not. So they are asking about the function of medulla. So we need to find out an involuntary action. Store in memory, incorrect. This is a function of cerebrum, right? Cerebrum. Memories are stored in the cerebrum. Storing sensors, once again incorrect. Sensors like different kinds of taste, different kinds of smells, those things are stored once again in our cerebrum. controls the rate of aeration of lungs. Yes, this is our answer. It is the one which helps to control the rate of aeration of lungs, as it is an involuntary action, right? So this is the answer. It controls the rate of aeration of lungs. The largest organ inside the body is, my dear children, now I know that if you are given with a question like this, the largest organ, as soon as you see the largest organ thing, you are going to select the skin. But it is incorrect. Why it is incorrect? Because you are not reading the question well. They are asking about largest organ not in the body, inside the body. See, largest organ inside the body. So we need to consider inside the structure of the body. The largest organ which is contained inside the body is not the skin, because skin is located outside the body. So if you take the interior body parts, the largest organ in the interior body parts is the, right, it is the, there are no several things, right, there is only one. So what is that only one organ that has the largest or that has the greatest mass? So that one is the liver. So liver is the organ which has the highest or which is the largest organ in our body. But here specialty is that this is the organ which is located inside our body, not outside. If you consider whole body, interior and exterior, the largest organ is the skin. But if you consider only the interior body parts, the largest organ is the liver. So it's given here inside, so therefore we have to select liver. Then you are given with the normal question. What is that? Largest organ in the body. So here they are not mentioning about whether it is interior or exterior. So we have to consider whole body. So if you are considering the whole body, there is an organ about 4.5 kilograms of a mass. So that organ is the human skin. So skin is the organ which is the largest organ in our body. Skin is the largest organ contained within our body. However, if you consider the interior body structure, the largest organ contained within the body is the liver. Okay? Right then. Number of cranial nerves in our body. So this is very straightforward. The number of cranial nerves within our body is 12 pairs, right? There are 12 pairs, 31 pairs of spinal nerves and 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Largest organ in the body is producing. So first of all, you need to know what is the largest organ in the body. So largest organ in the body is the skin. In the earlier question, we discussed that. So largest organ in the body means skin in the body is producing what? Vitamin D with the presence of sunlight. So vitamin D should be the answer. Right? Vitamin D should be the answer. Vitamin D is getting produced by the skin with the presence of sunlight. Okay then. The organism that has sweat, sebaceous glands. Sweat and sebaceous glands can be observed in number 1, loris, number 2, monkey, number 3, human, number 4, above all. So in all of these organisms are mammals now. So in all of these organisms, we could observe these glands. So our correct answer would be above all. In all of these organisms, we could observe sebaceous glands. Next one. Not an action of cerebrum Cerebrum, my dear children, not an action of cerebrum. Providing intelligence, that is correct. Upon storing memories and different types of sensors, cerebrum is going to provide us with the intelligence, right? So it is correct. Controlling higher mental activities like logical thinking, absolutely correct. Logical thinking is a higher brain activity. Learning, higher brain activity, right? Then thinking, a higher brain activity. So all of these actions are being controlled by the cerebrum. So it is correct. Controlling the rate of heartbeat. This is the incorrect one, my dear children. So this is the process which is not getting controlled by the cerebrum. It is an involuntary action. How can you say that? Because we can't control the rate of heartbeat by thinking. Just by thinking, we can't change the rate of heartbeat. How can we change it? There is no possibility, right? So this is an involuntary action. All involuntary actions are controlled by the medulla. So this is the answer for an action which is not controlled by the cerebrum. So next one, storing sensors and memories. That is also correct, no? Same thing as like this. Storing sensors and memories are carried out by the cerebrum. So that is correct. Question number 13. Number of spinal nerves in the body of a human. Once again, it's obvious to us, right? It's not just 31, my dear children. It should be 31 pairs, right? So it should be 31 pairs. Altogether, there are 62 nerves, not 31. There are 62 nerves. There are 31 pairs in total, or else 62 nerves in total, okay? So 62 or 31 pairs is the answer. Voluntary actions are controlled by. Voluntary actions are controlled by. Means that by thinking, we can move our arm. So those actions are voluntary actions. So we are thinking from our brain, no. So my dear children, answer for this question is not the heart, not the kidney, not our lungs, but the brain. So all voluntary actions in our body is controlled by brain. Especially there is a special part called cortex or the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the one which is going to help in controlling these voluntary actions. Right then, number 15. Excretory products created during respiration. So upon respiring, you know that different types of excretory substances are getting created. However, when producing energy upon the respiration process, we discussed that by the burning of glucose with oxygen gas, main byproducts which are getting created are carbon dioxide gas and water vapor. Glucose contains carbon. So by the burning of carbon with oxygen, carbon dioxide is getting created. Glucose also contains hydrogen. So by the burning of hydrogen with oxygen, water vapor is getting created. So the two main important excretory products which is getting created upon respiration process or upon energy production process are carbon dioxide gas and water vapor. So let's go for the carbon dioxide gas and water vapor thing. All of these responses contain carbon dioxide gas. So go ahead with the water vapor. See here in the third answer you can observe water vapor. So our correct answer is carbon dioxide gas and water vapor. Regulation and coordination of body balance is a function of. So body balance is maintained by the second most important part inside our brain, which is referred as the cerebellum, right? Cerebrum is going to control all voluntary actions, plus it is going to control activities like learning, thinking, logical abilities and storing sensors and so on. right? Medulla is going to control the involuntary actions like rate of heartbeat, rate of aeration of lungs, then vomiting, like that way. The involuntary actions are getting controlled by the medulla. The one and only function of the cerebellum is the controlling and maintaining the body balance. So my dear children, regulation and coordination of the body balance is a function of cerebellum. Cerebellum is the answer. You are given with the brain. Brain is also correct answer, no? Because cerebellum is located at the brain, no? But my dear children, thing is that we have to choose the most accurate answer. So there can be two or more correct answers. However, those answers will not be accurate. Okay? So we have to select the most accurate answer. Most accurate answer for this question is what? Cerebellum. Cerebellum is the most accurate answer. Right then. Kidney disease. A kidney disease. Renal failure. Correct. Renal failure is a kidney disease. Chronic kidney disease. What is that? Chronic kidney disease. Right. So let me explain what do you mean by CKD or chronic kidney disease. Now in Sri Lanka, if you take the Rajarata area like the Anuradhapura, Polonnaruwa, those areas, in those areas, my dear children, there is a special kind of a kidney disease which is going around right now. I mean, in present we can observe this CKD or chronic kidney disease. It's like this. For a longer time period, these people, they have a kidney failure or a kidney related problem. But the thing is that symptoms are being not given out. Symptoms are only given out when the kidney is getting failed. I mean, like after reducing the kidney function up to less than 50%. After reducing kidney function less than 50%, symptoms are given out. So at that time, the process, the filtration process is being down to the zero, right? Not to the zero, but up to a certain level it's working, but however, it's not going to work in the proper manner. It's going to, we don't know, actually the doctors are even don't know when does the CKD has start on a certain person. Even with the birth also this could happen. Gradually decrease in the level, the filtration level. If a person is falling with CKD or chronic kidney disease, normally this chronic kidney disease could be observed among the people who is living in Rajarata area, not in these areas, not in Colombo or any other hill country or down like Mathura, Galle. In those kinds of that kind of areas, we can't observe this CKD or chronic kidney disease. Specialty here is that CKD or chronic kidney disease can be controlled by using proper medication, right? Nowadays, experiments are being conducted in order to identify the relationship between agrochemicals with these, right? The usage of agrochemicals with the CKD. But however, they haven't got a good result. I mean, like they haven't found out a link between usage of agrochemicals with the CKD, right? They haven't found a direct link. Therefore, they are mentioning that this might be a causative reason. However, the link is being not exposed to the world, or it's not been exposed 100% totally to the world. we still don't know why this CKD or chronic kidney disease is going to occur. However, there are some certain facts like the busyness of the people, right? Busyness. Now, if you take people in Sri Lanka, not in Sri Lanka, but in each and every country, our societies right now is at, now if you take our society, the people, the working people, they have very less time period, but they have to work very hard within this less time period. So the mental stress is very high. Their lifestyle is completely changed now. Most of the people are been using, right, canned food for a long time, right, bottled water for long time. So my dear children, whole food patterns have been changed right now, right? So in these cases, there are some certain links. Actually, these things are also not been proven yet. But however, we can conclude that, right? We can come into a conclusion that the lifestyle of the people has a direct impact in getting CKD, right? And there is a possibility. This is actually not a direct answer, but there is a possibility of using agrochemicals heavily will cause CKD, right? There is a possibility. And there is another possibility, there is another theory. In those areas, if you take water, that water contains large amount of salts. So those water, that water which we receive from wells, right? That water is having a like discomfort taste. It's giving out a discomfort taste. Similar to brackish water. Okay, it's similar to brackish water. So my dear children, consuming these waters are also considered as a reason for CKD, right? It's because salts and heavy metals dissolved inside the water is going to result in kidney failure, like in a chronic wise. Okay. So my dear children, this is all about with the CKD. It's a type of a kidney disease that can be found in Sri Lanka, but only to a certain area, like in Anuradhapura Polonnaruwa Rajarata area. Okay. Right then. So CKD, that's a correct answer. That is a correct answer. It's a type of a kidney disease. Right. Then next one given acute kidney failure. Acute kidney failure is also correct. In the question itself, it is given acute kidney failure, right? So acute kidney failure is also correct. Acute kidney failure means, my dear children, suddenly upon chemicals, upon different types of poison, right, your kidneys will get fail. So that is called acute renal failure. So all of these things are correct. So our answer would be above all. Right, above all is our answer. Then the next one, 18th one, a skin disease. Warts, acne, eczema. Above all. So we studied all about these things. Warts, acne, eczema. All of these things are considered as, right? All of these things are considered as, my dear children, what? Skin diseases. So above all is our answer once again, right? All of these things are skin diseases. Right then. Next question given. Not a reason for kidney failure. Not a reason for kidney failure, my dear children. Not a reason. Okay. Number 1. Eating oily foods. Let's keep it in the same way and we'll check out the other ones. Smoking and using liquor. This is absolutely correct. It will lead to skin disease. It will lead to kidney failure. Right? It has a direct link with the kidney failure thing. So it is correct. Mercury poisoning. So I think I explained about the mercury thing when we are discussing about the kidney related problems under the heavy metals part. So mercury poisoning is also a reason for the kidney failure, right? So this is also correct. Having diabetes for a long period, that is also correct. So you know that if you have a certain type of a disease for a longer time period, you have to get medication for a longer time period. So that medication is going to be a reason for the renal failure in a someday. It can be a reason for the kidney failure. So my dear children, all of these responses are correct, right? We know that all of these responses are accurate. However, this one, eating oily foods, that thing do not show any kind of a direct relationship with the kidney failure process. So my dear children, answer for this thing is eating oily foods. If you eat too much oily foods, it's not good for your heart, right? And the second one, it's not good for your liver, right? With the kidneys, it doesn't go, it's not showing a direct impact, right? Kidney stones are created by sodium chloride, calcium oxalate, above all. So it's a straightforward question, my dear children, right? Kidney stones are created due to, crystallization of calcium oxalate salt, right? Due to crystallization of calcium oxalate salt, kidney diseases are getting created in the body, right? Kidney diseases means especially here kidney stones. So kidney stones are getting created due to crystallization of calcium oxalate. Right, so we discussed 20 MCQ questions in this part, my dear children, along with the questions which are given in your textbook. So we'll discuss somewhat more questions in our next chapter, right? So let's meet you on the next chapter to discuss somewhat more questions related to the lesson.